Hey guys, Tony here, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at the new flagship 4K projector from XGIMI called the Horizon S Max. Following on from the Horizon Ultra, the S Max delivers some additional features which make it a viable option at the sub $2,000 end of the market. Check the links in the description if you'd like to pick one up, and as always guys, I'm going to break down the specs, who I think this projector is for, show some demos, as well as discuss the pros and cons. But first, if you're new to my channel, I make content around home theatre, including home theatre tours, how-to videos, as well as projector reviews like the one you're about to watch right now. So make sure you subscribe to the channel to get my future videos, but let's get into it. The S Max comes in a smaller footprint than the previous Horizon Ultra, measuring in at 234mm high by 273mm wide and 174mm deep, and weighing in at only 4.81 kilograms. It has a gimbal designed to allow you to position it where you need to and simply tilt and angle it toward the screen or wall, making this a very definition of a lifestyle projector. I also tried ceiling mounting the S Max when I first got it, but quickly realized that it wasn't going to work out in my setup, but I'll explain that a little later. It does come with an external power brick which does keep the size and weight down, as well as a Bluetooth remote, and I found it very easy to set up using Android TV 11 operating system, where you get your usual apps and it's a very familiar experience. However, there is no support for Netflix yet. You will need to get something like an Apple TV to use that one. One of the things that continues to impress me about the innovation with modern lifestyle projectors is just how much technology is packed into a small footprint. There are some downsides to this, which I'll discuss later, but one of the cool new features on this projector is the Dual Light 2.0 tech, which combines LED and triple laser together to produce both a vibrant image as well as an image softer on the eyes. When you go into the display settings, you can choose between the Dual Light or straight triple laser. And the reason that you might want to go with the dual light option is that one of the biggest issues that you get is that the triple laser light engines will give a speckle on the screen, which can be really distracting. I'm using a 120-inch long throw ALR screen in my setup, which does reduce the laser speckle, and although I did see some very minor speckle with the tricolor laser mode, it was barely noticeable, and I will say the least amount of speckle that I've experienced from a triple laser in all of the units that I have reviewed. However, when I switched to the dual light mode, it pretty much disappeared, but also had the added bonus of being a little brighter as well. The reported brightness is 3100 ISO lumens, and it is considerably brighter than the Horizon Ultra, which I have placed in my ceiling mount. I did notice that straight away, especially as you have a boost mode for the higher brightness with the S Max. One more thing I wanted to say about the display is that it is very sharp with very good focus uniformity. I noticed it straight away that it had the same sort of feel to the Horizon Ultra, but with a little bit more sharpness and a little bit more vibrancy, especially when in IMAX enhanced mode. I preferred running that mode for all non-Dolby Vision content that was in HDR. I was very interested to see how the black levels performed on the S Max, considering that we have the ultra bright mode as well as the physical iris to help improve the contrast. I didn't find the contrast to be particularly groundbreaking, especially when comparing to something like my JVC. However, for a single chip DLP, I found it decent enough in dark scenes, and the contrast depth was especially impressive in the brighter scenes, which also had some dark areas. The image was very vibrant. There is a definite improvement over the Horizon Ultra, and although XGIMI have reported 1,000,000:1 contrast, this is due to laser dimming, so I measured the contrast with my sensor, and you can see the readings up on the screen. I took the measurements at night with all the lights off and the shutters closed, so I feel that it is an accurate representation of what you would get in the real world. To me, what is most attractive about this projector is the brightness, which does enhance the black levels when you have a bright scene. Also, one particularly challenging scene is in Furiosa, where they are racing through the desert in the dark, and there was plenty of detail visible. So I find that in an actual movie watching situation that this projector is very watchable and has a pretty good image. There are some very cool features to the S Max when it comes to the various display modes and options. First of all, if you go into HDR mode, the S Max automatically detects and asks if you'd like to switch to IMAX Enhanced, which is recommended for standard HDR10. My observation here is that it does seem to add a slight golden glow to the image. It does appear a little sharper, and overall the image is nice, but you can't change anything beyond this point as it's working off the IMAX enhanced algorithm. The same thing can be said about Dolby Vision mode. However, with that you can adjust a few settings, like changing to a bright or dark or custom mode. Inside the custom mode you can adjust basic things such as the overall color balance of the laser, as well as sharpness, brightness and contrast, but you can't change any of the other profiles as Dolby Vision also runs off an algorithm. Some of the new improvements with the S Max are that you get an adaptive brightness mode which can adjust the picture automatically based on the ambient light in the room. There is also a brightness boost mode as well. When you double tap on the right arrow on your remote control, you can go into the +10, and that is where I found I like to have it set. To improve the black levels, there is a physical iris for contrast enhancement, and you can hear it click into place. There aren't any levels of adjustment here, but you can definitely make a big difference to the overall black levels, so I recommend keeping it enabled at all times. If you wanted to calibrate the display to your liking, you can then go into the custom settings and adjust all of the settings manually, which are featured usually only available on projectors far more expensive, which include the color temperature, all of the colors as well. I found that I really like the movie mode preset, which is a little on the warm side, but it makes the image much more cinematic for movies. The Brilliant mode is also great for gaming, however there is also a low latency mode for gaming as well. My daughter has been enjoying playing the Xbox and the image is pretty crisp and smooth. This leads me to the lens, and one of the negative things about this projector in my opinion, and that is that there is no optical zoom feature, which was previously added into the Horizon Ultra. In my personal setup, which has a fixed frame screen and also a dedicated ceiling mount, the optical zoom feature on the Horizon Ultra meant that I was able to zoom it in almost pixel perfect to the edge of the screen without the need for keystone, which means I get perfect placement and no degradation of the image. When I first installed the S Max, I didn't realize that it didn't have optical zoom, so when I installed it, although it instantly aligned to my screen, I found that the image just wasn't as sharp as the Horizon Ultra, and that was because the digital zoom was engaged versus the optical zoom. The only positive that I gathered from this is that the usual grey glow that you get around the screen when you're doing keystone, which is the light bleed, you see it on the wall sometimes, this just wasn't visible. Even with the Horizon Ultra, I would see a great glow, so there has been a big improvement on that side of things. So if you have to place the projector off to the side and shine it onto the wall, you will get minimal light bleed. For me, I really do miss the optical zoom, so for the duration of this review, I had it placed in front of my seats so that I could line it up without having to keystone the image. This meant that I had to get the exact position on the vertical and the horizontal so that I didn't need to keystone the image, which is a little harder than you might think, but I was able to get it sorted by resting it on top of the packaging of my Xbox. The main thing is, if you have to tilt the projector at all, you will get a trapezoidal look to the image, and then keystone will be required. And while I know they intentionally designed the gimbal to allow for all the rotation and angles, this is not ideal for a screen. To be fair, if you can't get it perfect and have to use a bit of keystone, you have those options there as well. Taking the perspective of a lifestyle projector, I think that it really doesn't get much better than the S Max, because you have the gimbal to help you align the image, you have the smart features that you get with ISA 5.0, you get the auto keystone to get the image square on the wall, as well as autofocus when you move the projector, plus the obstacle avoidance and the wall color adaptation features. This projector has options for you to fine-tune the placement to get the best picture, as well as allow you to move it around other parts of the house if you want to use a wall. In my setup, I am using a 120-inch ALR screen, and I have it at the correct distance, so you can see the image looks great when you don't have to make any adjustments, which do impact on the image quality. There is also 3D support for this projector. Of course, I can't demo that for you as you won't be able to see it, and it has side-by-side and frame packing support, so if you have a 3D library, you will be able to enjoy it with this projector. There is also a gaming mode, as I mentioned earlier, and I think for casual gaming, it's fine for that, especially if you want to use a projector as a movie projector, as well as for gaming. It will work great for both use cases, and for the price, it's way cheaper than a 120-inch screen. So if gaming on a big screen is something that you want to do, this is definitely going to work for both movies and games. The projector is pretty quiet, measuring in at under 28 decibels, which is pretty much like ambient, and I found that I couldn't hear it at all, much like my Horizon Ultra. There are two 12-watt Harman Kardon speakers there if you don't have an external sound system like I do, although I love to have the projector only handling the video and my multi-channel speaker setup doing the audio for a better experience. And you certainly can get by with the built-in speakers if you don't have that. The projector can decode audio up to Dolby Digital Plus through eARC back to your soundbar, or like me, you can use your Apple TV to get up to Dolby Atmos and pipe it through your receiver to get the full sound experience for movies. Either way, the S-Max has plenty of options for you to connect up and use in a variety of scenarios. So what do I think of the S-Max, especially after owning the Horizon Ultra for the past year? Well, starting off with the negatives, the lack of optical zoom is a big deal for me and something that I really wish was included in the S-Max, but I do understand why they left it out because I did ask them and it was to keep the cost as well as the bulkiness of the projector down. And possibly I'm in the minority of people that would use this projector as a dedicated cinema projector with a screen, so most of the people who would buy this might not even notice. But I'm just being honest here, and it is something that I wish was included, as well as lens shift. But I do know that with these two things you end up with a much bigger projector but also a bigger price tag. The biggest positives with this projector are the support for the dual light mode with both the hybrid LED and triple laser light engine options, as some people will appreciate the vibrancy of the triple laser but the lack of speckle with the LED. I am definitely one of those people affected by speckle, so it was nice to see the dual light option there to decrease it quite a bit. For movies, I found the image really pleasant and easy to watch, especially with Dolby Vision mode, and if I could place this projector in the perfect position without impacting my floor space or re-drilling into the ceiling, I would replace my Horizon Ultra for sure. Movie mode with triple laser enabled was also especially nice for HDR movies, and the increased brightness with the 10 Plus also makes the picture very pleasant to watch in movies like Furiosa. If you're after a sub $2,000 projector that can do 4K, Dolby Vision, IMAX Enhanced, and has all of these smart features, then the S-Max will definitely not disappoint. There is also the S Pro, which is only $1,300, but doesn't have the same brightness or IMAX Enhanced, but it can still do Dolby Vision and has the 4K options with the dual light features. I will have links down in the description to both of them so that you can check them out if you want to buy one. I'd like to thank XGIMI for sending me the S-Max in for the review. It isn't a sponsored video, but if you do want to support the work I do here on YouTube with my review videos, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, share it to a friend, but you can also become a channel sponsor and hit the join button, or on Patreon as well. And I do have a Discord server you can join for free. We discuss all things home theater and you can chat to me over there as well. Links are down in the description. A very big thank you for watching, but that's it for this one. You'll catch me in the next one. Bye for now.